Welcome to Rob Reviews. My name is Rob Webb, aka William Robert Webb III, aka Tetsuo the Great, aka Tetsuo Man, with a little underscore thing. And like I said, this is Rob Reviews. I am going to do a review of a comic book, which is sort of the first time I'm doing this. And that comic is The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, Issue 1. This will contain some spoilers, so keep that in mind. So, I've been kind of looking forward to this comic for a while because, of course, I'm a fan of the Spider Marriage, and I'm not naive enough to think that if enough people buy this, this is going to bring back the marriage. By no means. I mean, the continuity that they even have for this comic is so different than I think has ever been done before. That's kind of hard to be like, yeah, that's what we'll bring back, because it definitely wouldn't if they brought back the marriage. But I just was like, okay, Spider Marriage related comic, let's see that. So here are my thoughts. First off, basically you have this new separate continuity. It's basically like, I think it's supposed to be like if Mary Jane didn't have the miscarriage during the Clone Saga, I think is kind of the implication here. It's very much kind of like, well, this is the 90s kind of Spider-Man. And it really has that kind of feel to it, even though it's Dan Slott, Dan Slott's been writing, some stuff I have had no interest in reading. I didn't have interest in, say, Doc Ock Spidey, and then some of the other stuff, post One More Day, pretty much anything post One More Day, I really haven't had any interest in. So I was kind of leery going in, because I know Dan Slott was part of that kind of brain trust that was like, no, along with Stephen Wacker, we are not bringing back the marriage ever. So I thought, there's a little bit of like, hey, maybe Spider-Man shouldn't be married and have a kid because that's kind of dangerous or something like that, which is kind of a straw man, but it's not in your face. And I don't think, I'm very much hedging on that might just me reading into it, because that might just be what it is. But so far I'm liking it. Basically of this whole thing where superheroes who don't have superpowers are getting killed off, stuff just is kind of happening. The Avengers ask Spidey, hey, why don't you come up, specifically Iron Man's like, hey, why don't you come and have your family here, because things are getting really dicey, and he's like, well, I don't know. And then we get to what was probably my favorite bit of the issue, even though I'm a big fan of the Spider Marriage, so that enough should be a big thing for me, but lo and behold, bam! Eddie Brock as Venom. Back. And pretty well written. As 90s Eddie Brock Venom, basically, and incarnate. And which kind of seems to be the final step into what I think, I'm still debating how I understood what the last page of the issue was. Because what we got was a time jump. And it heavily implied, like a couple of years later, because it starts off, Mary Jane and Peter's daughter, Annie, is an infant. And she seems to be more like 5 or 6, or a little bit older at the end. I mean, there's an obvious time jump just based on the fact she has really short hair as an infant, and then as kind of like just a little kid, has really long hair, which you see in the front of the cover. Okay? And it seems to imply Peter just was like, okay, I'm done. I haven't been Spider-Man for a couple of years because I did this for my marriage and my kid and my family. And I'm like, which I'm not even sure if that's exactly. It just almost seemed like I think that is what's happening, but I'm not 100% sure, because it was only in like one page and it's like not out explained. I don't know, but I did like what I read, and Eddie Brock Venom is a huge deal for me as a 90s kid, a guy who was a 90s kid. I'm I mean, I can't believe it. I'm almost 30. But I grew up reading Spider-Man and the Spider-Man animated series in the 90s. So I'm pretty psyched about this. I'm liking things so far. I'm going to see how it goes. And that's pretty much my review. I have been Rob Webb, a.k.a. William Robert Webb III, a.k.a. Tetsuo Man, a.k.a. Tetsuo the Great. And have a fine day. End.